Hello, 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 everyone. This is Naama Sagal Karis, and this is How Do You Jew, the podcast that highlights the diversity of the Jewish experience so that we can increase Achdut Israel, love of our fellow, and we can finally get Mashiach already. Today, I have an amazing guest. He is apparently Hashem is sending me guests through TikTok and social media. That's the way it works now. So this is another amazing gentleman who I found through TikTok Live. He was speaking to his lived experience as a Jew living in Hebron, being a Torah observant Jew, having moved from America to Eretz Israel. He's very down to earth. He has a really lovely perspective on reality. And like I said, I want to highlight different Jews doing Judaism differently so that we can all stop being so judgmental already. So, without further ado, I want to recognize and welcome Rabbi Akiva Fuld.
Thank you very much for having me.
Baruch Hashem, I'm so
Glad to
excited.
be able
How
to
is
do
the
this
weather
with you.
today?
Hot, just plain old hot.
That was such
It's
a dumb
definitely
question. Like,
not,
it's
yeah, it's
Israel in
definitely
July.
not
Hello.
fasting weather, but stay inside and fast is a little bit easier.
Yeah, if you're going to
Well, now
fast
it's
the heat.
over, so that's even easier.
Well, that's even better. The fast just is difficult when it's hot, for sure.
Yes.
It is. So, as my audience, all three of you may remember, I ask the same questions to everybody every time they come on. So, the first one is nice to meet you. So, I would love to hear for you to tell us a little bit about your origin story. Tell us about yourself, where you're from, how you got from where you were to where you are, what do you do for a living, and how does your Jewish identity shape your life, or how has it shaped your life?
Interesting. Well, start with the basic background. I grew up in Queens, New York, so nothing extra special there. My father was a Sofer Stam, so he worked with, wrote, and fixed Sifrei Torah, mezuzot, and tefillin.
Oh, got it.
Um,
Okay.
that was his full-time job. He also, at some point later in life, he also ended up owning a Silver Judaica store.
Oh, okay.
My mother was mainly a teacher most of her life, and when my father opened the store, she went in to partner with him. Um,
So like silver Judaica, like candlesticks and that kind of thing.
exactly.
Okay, got it.
Exactly. He had a true love for that kind of stuff. And it also, because he was working in that area, it entitled him to come up with excuses to come to Eretz Yisrael 5 to 7 times a year.
Oh darn, I
Because
just gotta fly
yeah, no,
back.
but
Oh well.
he loved Eretz Yisrael, and the only reason he never made Aliyah was because he had an issue with Kibbutz of Aim that was more important to him, and his parents made it clear to him that they want him living nearby. And then after my grandparents passed away, he felt it was too late and too hard to find the right time and so on. That was part one. Part two was he was also very scared of his children going into the army, but
Mm,
now his grandsons, granddaughters are serving. So
wow.
I guess he, got what he wanted. Um, let's see. I moved to Israel first, studying and working and so on, back and forth in 92. I started coming to Israel and I was working here, I was learning here. Do you know a guy named Jeff Seidel?
I've heard the name, but at the moment I can't recall the face.
So he's somebody who he invites people for Friday night. He has shiurim that are going on. He works mainly in Ben Gurion University, and he also works mainly in Hebrew University.
Oh,
And he
that's
invites
amazing.
students to come for Shabbos and so on. So I worked for him with him for half a year, sitting. His main office is at the Kotel. He just sits there at the Kotel, and I did that for a while, inviting kids for a shiur or for a.
Okay, so now I recognize it. I've heard so many stories of this guy was at the Kotel and he kept inviting these young kids to come have Shabbat. Okay, so this is the guy. Okay.
That's Jeff
Small, this is
Seidel.
Jewish geography, folks. I heard that story at a Shabbat table like 10 years ago, and now I know the name of the guy. Okay, great.
There you go. So I worked for him for a while, and it was back and forth. It was university, back to Israel, yeshiva, back to America. I was an elementary school teacher for a while.
Oh,
Then I met my wife, and we made Aliyah a month after we got married.
did you meet her in the
That
States?
we met in New York. Original.
Okay.
Well, the story is, well, it was New Jersey actually. The story is that we were supposed to meet a year prior.
Hmm.
A friend of hers, a mutual friend, tried to set us up, but she was 17 at the time and she had never gone on a date before, so she was a little nervous and trying to figure it all out.
Rightly
And
so.
by the time she had made up her mind that she wanted to go out, I had already moved back to the States.
Oh,
So a
interesting.
year,
Okay.
so a year later, all three of us were at a mutual engagement party of some of my brother and his kala. And so when the mutual friend came over to me saying, "Remember that girl I tried to introduce you to a year ago?" I said, "Absolutely not. I don't. And it's hard for
I've
me to
slept
remember
since
the
then.
girls
What are
I
you talking
don't
about?
meet." So she said she'll be here in 5 minutes. Go. Why don't you guys sit down and have a talk? And it was very quick because she was in Toronto and I was in New York. So our dating was either phone or getting together for a week at a time. I would take a week off from work, go up to Toronto. She would take a week off from school, come down to New York.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
s- yeah, so that was basically what it was. And then we got married. We got married in August. So our 28th anniversary is coming up shortly.
Baruch Hashem,
Um,
Mazel Tov. Wait, how old were
thank
you?
you.
She was 17. How old were you?
I was 20 she's 4 years younger than me. So, well, we only met when she was 18. We got married when she was 19.
Oh, got it.
So
Okay.
we got married. I was 23 at the time.
That's a good gap. That's a good gap.
Yeah, and it's a good age. I think 23 is an appropriate age for people in the Jewish world to get married. I think it's before all kinds of, you know, foreign desires come about and things pulling you in all kinds of different directions and wanting to live a specific type of life and changing your base goals and changing your base philosophies. I think that happens a lot during those early 20 to early 30s
Yeah,
years.
it's
And I
true. You
think,
really are figuring out your identity in that time, and it's easier to form an identity as a unit than trying to do it in your 30s and 40s.
very true. And
So then what
so
happened?
we moved to Israel in Aseret Yemei Tshuva, the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Oh, wow.
I went straight to a yeshiva. We didn't have, it was before Nefesh B'Nefesh. It was before anybody really helped you make Aliyah. So I went straight to a kollel, where I learned for 3 years.
And a
And got,
kollel is a learning place where men go to learn specifically the Talmud.
well, generally married men, number one.
Oh,
And
got
number
it.
two
Okay.
is generally they're learning for the Rabbanut. They're learning to get their rabbinic degree.
Oh, got
Uh,
it.
and most of what's learned is halacha in Shulchan Aruch, but secondary is Gemara because you don't know Shulchan Aruch without having the Gemara behind it, without
Okay,
understanding
got
the
it.
Gemara that leads to those halachot.
Got it. Okay.
Went from in a place called Shavei Shamron. We were there for 3 years. Moved here to Gush Etzion in our fourth year. We were in a community called Karmei Tzur for almost 20 years. And then we moved to Kiryat Arba slash Chevron, where we live today.
Oh,
It's a
gotcha.
small little community, we live on a closed block, meaning the street is 29 families,
Uh-huh.
gated on both sides, gate fully surrounding, and but it's 29 families, so you're part of Hebron and part of Kiryat Arba and not part of anything, and it's this whatever it is. It's Kiryat Arba Hebron. It's a great place to be. We love it here. Um, what do I do
Okay.
for a living now? I'm writing for Haggadot, Haggadah of Pesach.
Oh, wow.
That's what I do with my time. Um,
Just writing a
but
Haggadah, like the
yeah,
the user manual for how to do Passover. Don't mind me.
yeah. Basically, I come from a very sales background,
Okay.
and in sales, most of what's in sales is education and communication.
Right.
You have to speak well. You have to speak the message as your receiver receives them.
Right.
And if you're doing it improperly, then your receiver is never going to receive the message that you're trying to put forward.
So incredibly true. I could write books about it. Yes.
Well, so I am. Um,
Yay!
the concept started that there are four personalities that are written about in the Haggadah,
Right.
and each one of these four personalities are a different message receiving personality.
Oh, like
There
archetypes.
are archetype. There are four sons,
Uh-huh.
and each one of them has the question that they ask and the answer that we give them. And if you look at the
Hmm.
question that they ask and you look at the answer that we give them, it's clearly an archetype for how they listen to a message, what kind of message the manner in which you need to convey a message to that person.
Hmm.
So I'm making four Haggadot, one for each of the four sons, one for the Chacham, one for the Rasha, one for the Tam, and one for the Sheinu Yedei Lishol.
Oh my gosh.
And if you look at their questions, I mean, I can do another 2 hour podcast on just explaining the basics for this.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, but as I said, it's all about messaging. It's all about education and the link between education and communication that you really
Right.
can't have one without the other.
Right.
Um, so that's what I spend my time with. As I said, I used to be in sales, marketing, management of all sorts. Um,
Now I have to
but
ask,
education.
I'm
Go ahead,
curious,
please, sir.
what compelled you to decide, firstly, to write a Haggadah at all? It's a very like type specific book to write. And secondly, what compelled you to write at the audience of each of the four sons?
So it was sort of a backwards kind of process. I like to do very different siddurim, every year for Pesach Seder we do something different.
Okay.
I've done Sherlock Holmes scavenger hunts. I've done little skits in the living room.
That's amazing.
Uh, I've turned water into blood and blood into water. I've turned sticks into snakes. I've I made puppets.
Oh my
All kinds of
goodness.
things. So every year I like to do something different. So I'm really generally working on the Seder from Purim. As soon as Purim is over, that's when I'm starting to
Wow.
figure out what do I want to do that year. So
So
my
you're doing
children are
it from
very,
the
very
perspective
artistic.
of wanting to really get people into it in a cerebral and embodied way.
I personally love the concepts of education and communication, both separately and together in the jobs that I've done in life. I think the only way we get people to interact, the only way we get create, as you're looking for, not you, but everybody is looking for ahavat chinam,
Right.
is by communicating.
Yes.
Is if I can't know
Free
you,
love, love of
then
your fellow.
there you go. And a lot of it comes through education and communication because without them, you have fear, which turns into hatred, or misunderstanding, which turns into fear, which turns into hatred.
Absolutely.
So
That's
that
very
was always
Yoda
very,
of
very
you.
important to me. Okay. I got the hairs growing out of the ear, but
I
not quite
wasn't going
that
to say
short.
a word, but also Yoda's Jewish because George Lucas is Jewish. Anyway, um,
Yes, yes, that is true.
so you decided to do these Haggadah
Um,
because you're obsessed with getting
no, so one of my
education.
children were drawing their interpretation of the four sons,
Oh,
and then
fun.
all of a sudden it just struck me right then and there that the four sons are four archetypes for listening, for education and
Yes.
communication.
Yes.
And so it just hit me that, my original plan was to create a paradigm for education. That was my
Okay.
first step.
Okay.
Then that became a communication for all facets of life: husbands and wives, teachers and children, students, parents and children, uh, spouses. Everything has this falls under the paradigm of communication in a way that if you know who you're speaking with and you can identify if they are the Chacham, the Rasha, the Tam, the Chainer Deilishal in their message reception. The Rasha doesn't mean that he is a bad person. That is
Right.
not how I look at it.
Absolutely correct.
So it's so once I figured that out, then I wanted to do an entire communication paradigm for all forms of listening. And then I said, you know what, if I'm already doing that, let me start off with the basic part of it, where it all comes from, and let's do the Haggadah, and then grow that into so on. But the Haggadah has taken me long enough that hopefully that will come out someday. And then if
Wow.
I still have time, then we'll work on the communication
You know,
and education paradigm.
Hashem. Oh my, with God's help, hopefully, yeah, before next Pesach.
Amen.
Oh my gosh.
Amen.
So basically you reverse engineered it based on a spontaneous, sort of divine download that you got.
Eureka.
Ugh, I love that so much. Some of the best
Yeah.
stuff we've ever come up with as human beings is like that. I just adore that. Wow.
And it's been enjoyable and educational for me the entire time. It even gave me an interesting added value, which, completely by chance just happened. I now have a weekly chavruta with my mother that we
Okay.
learn together once a week
Oh,
on the Haggadah. So
oh my
it's
gosh.
just it's a great way to get. She lives in Yerushalayim, I live in Hebron, so we don't really get together
Oh
all
my
the time, but we
gosh.
have now this weekly time that we get together and learn together. So
I
it's
am literally gonna cry. Like I lost my mom 6 years ago. The idea that
oh,
I could like call her every week and I could learn something with her. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Wow. That's
Thank
so
God that's
amazing. I'm so happy
it's
for
worked out
you.
very well. Thank God.
Wow. Okay. So I've recently become kind of obsessed with the Haggadah only because I discovered the graphic novel Haggadah that
Okay.
came. I don't know if you've seen it or not. The art is incredible. My son literally before, during, and after Pesach just wanted to look at it at the coffee table because it was so
Is that the
moving.
one with the pages that open and
Yes.
so on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's
And like
the
when they
one
talk
with the
about it in every generation, someone comes,
it's a
and
picture
it
of
shows all of the communist
yes.
party. Yes.
Yeah, my daughter has been using that Haggadah for I don't know, over 10 years now, and she every year she's looking through it as if it's the first time she's looking, and she's an artist. She's in
Oh,
Bezalel right now studying art.
good for her.
So she's very, very into the Haggadah, like from every perspective.
It's
It's a
it's a
great
really
Haggadah, that
transformative
Haggadah.
but that's the beauty of art is like art can
Yes.
literally teach and change your brain waves. And so I've not been interested in a Haggadah ever until I found this graphic novel. And my hope, please God, one day is I can interview the artist. I don't even remember what his name is offhand, but maybe one day. But I gotta ask with this passion, obviously for communication and tying in such a deep, intuitively primal piece of Jewish understanding, which is our journey out. How did your Jewish identity inform this work for you? Like you didn't just like stam go like, oh, whatever, it's a Haggadah, let's pick something.
That's interesting. I always felt there was lacking in Jewish education. I know for
Yes.
myself when I was growing up, my father was limited to certain schools to send us to, but the school didn't match my home upbringing because if he
Um,
had certain things, A, B, and C that must be, then sometimes D would have to fall out of it. My father was very Tzioni, and because of whatever reasons, one of the schools that he sent me to was a place that spoke only in Yiddish. All the
mm,
learning was in Yiddish. And one day I came home from school and I said, Hebrew is not Lashon HaKodesh, Yiddish is Lashon HaKodesh.
whoa,
And my
okay.
father almost blew up at me. He's like, "Where do you come up with such a?" This is what I'm being taught in school.
Oh
This is the
boy.
mindset of that community was that such you need to make such a break with this Zionist concept, with Israel, modern Israel, and so on, that to think that he Lashon Hakodesh is Lashon Hakodesh, but that was done in
Meaning
the
the
Torah. We
holy
don't.
tongue, the sacred
The holy
language.
tongue was the holy tongue of the Gemara, of the Mishnah, and of the Torah,
Right.
and that's where it is. And the Hebrew today does not reflect the holy tongue. So that's the mindset of that community. And so, for instance, I grew up learning things that my father wanted me to understand A, B, and C, and I got A, B, and C, but because of the education that I had to get with A, B, and C, I lost out, for instance, on D, E, and F.
Yeah.
And I
It happens
think
a lot.
there's yeah, and I think a lot of communication, I think if you look at many of the communication paradigms that are out there, a lot of it is how do you get your message across?
Yeah.
It's not how does your audience listen, it's how do you get your message across?
Right.
It's very, very one-sided. You
Hmm.
want to make sure, I mean, it sounds like they're the two sides of the same coin, but it's not done like that. It really is how do I get through to you? But it's not how do I get through to you? How do you listen? And when it comes to both communication, I'm sorry that I keep repeating it. Communication, education, communicate. It's a mantra for me.
Don't
It really is
apologize. This
that
is what drives you. This is your
it's
passion.
it's something that has always, when it comes, especially when it comes to Judaism, I feel that a lot of messaging is being lost. I think, as we know, clearly one generation doesn't communicate with the next generation. We have,
Ain't that
you
the
look at
truth?
Generation X versus Generation Z versus baby boomers, so on and so forth. There's
Yeah.
a lot of miscommunication at every single point. And when it comes to Judaism, or it comes to the Haggadah, for instance, the whole purpose of it is Vigat Zalavincha, that we tell it over to our children. And if that is the whole concept of Judaism, realistically, is education. It's
Yes.
for us to give on and keep going and keep going, and it is for us to teach. I
Right.
mean, when we say Lilmod Ulame Lishmor Velasot, yes, the purpose of us of Judaism is doing, which I'll get to a little bit later. The purpose of Judaism is doing, but you're supposed to learn to teach, to do, and that's for you to do and for your students to do. Without the proper teaching methods, it gets lost.
I agree with you. I do. And I think using the Haggadah specifically as for those folks who may have been, it's been a minute since you've been at a Seder table. We're not talking about a giant tome. We're not talking about 800 pages of anything, even though the Seder takes 25 hours. We're talking about a little teeny tiny book that's got maybe 50 pages. It's got a bunch of blessings, it's got songs, it's got order of operations, and it's got the story of our people. But for the most part, it's like a little novella. It's a little teeny book, and it's intended to have the same system and the same framework and the same methodology. And Akiva, what I'm hearing you say is this is a lovely microcosm that you can use to really hone the proper delivery of information to every type of listener so that it sticks, so it lands.
Well, the way I used to refer to it is that the whole purpose of Lil Seder Pesach, of the night of Pesach, is to teach over to our children. That
Right.
is the entire purpose.
Yes.
To teach over to our children how it came to be that Hashem chose us,
Yes.
and we became Hashem's nation. But it is, bottom line is, it is teaching over to the next generation. So the entire night of the Seder is focused on teaching. The Haggadah is a teacher's guide.
Mhm.
It is the guide to how we give this over. And within the Haggadah, there's a teacher's guide to the teacher's guide. There are four personalities that you need to give over this how to use this teacher's guide for each of these four personalities to give over the information that you need to give over. And I saw it just as such a perfect, if we say that education is in my mind paramount in Judaism, then Leil Seder Pesach is the ultimate place where we are focused on education. So
Amazing.
that's where it comes from.
I love this passion. And I also I have a minor in communication and I do podcasts and I'm a writer and I'm a blogger and I am obsessed and I speak three languages and I totally get where you're coming from. And I also, I want to segue into something that you've probably talked about many times. And I know you mentioned it to me in TikTok. One of the big reasons I have this platform is because I want all Jews of every background to know that Jews who are awesome and who embrace their Judaism fully and fully identify as practicing Jews also struggle. There are things they love, there are things they don't love. And I would love to ask you, what is something you struggle with in your Judaism or in your Torah learning? And what is something that you absolutely love?
Well, as I just it's in certain ways it's two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I struggle with and something that I love. Um, well, we'll separate them at this point. But as I said earlier,
Yeah.
one of the main purposes of Judaism is do. Our relationship with Hashem is not like other religions' relationship with their gods of believe.
Right.
By us, believe is secondary in a way. It sounds
Mm-hmm.
weird to say that, but it is secondary. Our primary job in this world is to do.
Yes.
Hashem gave us 613 to do or not to do,
Yes.
but they are doing. Judaism is specifically, and that's why I have a problem. I mean, when you look at it, any of the outgrowths from Judaism, whether they be within Judaism or they be outside of Judaism, are desires to not do. And
Very
they
true.
basically have taken the bits of belief, put the belief in stronger, and taken out all the do that's related to it. So for me, I believe 100% that the most important thing in Judaism is do. And I think we're very clear on that. I think it's very, very simple if we think about it correctly. It's very simple to know, to learn, and to know how to do every second of our day as a Jew. I know which sock to put on first. I know which leg to put first. I know,
He's
you
not
know, it,
exaggerating, you guys.
no,
It's literally in the Talmud. There's
there
recommendations.
are places where you can find every single step as to how to do Judaism for every single second of the day. And on the one hand, I believe that that is the main focus of Judaism, and that's where we really have to focus things. Meaning, um, I believe that every moment we should be doing because that is what brings us closer to our understanding of our relationship with Hashem. Because I also don't believe that we are close to Hashem. I don't believe that we are part of Hashem. I don't believe that we are related to Hashem. I believe that we are Hashem. I believe in
Yes. Louder for the
panentheism.
back row.
I believe in panentheism. I believe that Hashem is everything
Yes.
and more.
Yes.
So I don't believe that you exist. I don't believe that I exist. I don't believe this computer exists. I believe we are zeros and ones on Hashem's computer of a simulation that He's letting us play out.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying that out loud.
so, um, so for me, we need to come closer to our understanding that we are God.
Yes.
We are Hashem. Again, everybody's got to take this. Somebody's going to call you back and say, "We are gods." Are you serious? This is who you had on your podcast? No, there is nothing. Ain od milvado. There is nothing besides him. Many people
Correct.
like to take that as there are no other gods before him, or there's no other gods
No,
other than him.
no, no.
There is
There
nothing
is
but Hashem.
nothing. There is
If you
nothing
understand that
except Hashem.
concept, and
Yes.
it talks against, I mean, Chabad has an issue with it, so they talk about tzimtzum, pulling us ourselves back a little bit so that Hashem can fill that space. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that we have anything to pull back because I think we are full. It's almost it feels like a fallacy. It almost feels like a logical fallacy. But there are two things occupying the same space at all times. We seem like we're there, but we're not. It's Hashem who is us. That's not an excuse for doing bad things and so on. But that's the concept is that Hashem is everywhere.
Right.
And we get closer to that acceptance, whether it's understanding or just acceptance, but we get closer to, let's say, the acceptance of that concept the more we do. And that's what doing is for. The doing is specifically to deal with the singularity truth of Hashem, the Torah, and the world. This is all one thing. And again, reality is Torah and the world are. I don't like to use the word part because it's not a part of Hashem. It is Hashem. It's a hard one for people to grasp many times.
Right.
But as I said, the main thing is do, and the only way to really grasp concepts, the only way to get closer to our Hashemness is to do. So one of the things that I have a problem with is I'm lazy. So being a lazy person, I have a hard time with the doing. Sometimes you wake up and you just don't want to do. So for me, that is something that holds me back. And sometimes, my mother used to be a Weight Watchers lecturer, and she would say, you come home, you're not supposed to eat ice cream, but you take a spoonful of the ice cream, you eat it, but then you don't want anybody to see that you've taken the spoonful, so you got to flatten out the entire area. So there's one side that's not really flattened out, so you got to clean that up a little bit. But bad habits
They
lead
build on each
themselves
other.
into themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would I would say one of my biggest, probably my biggest issue that I struggle with in Judaism is the do, because I really believe that that is a all of Judaism, and b that's all of our lives. Meaning there really is nothing to our lives beyond the do.
Right.
Um, and it's hard. It's hard, even though you believe that you believe, even though you believe that you know the true Judaism, that you know the objective truth.
Hmm.
Sometimes even knowing the objective truth isn't strong enough to get, what is it, Puchasayf and Tish, the to get the bring the butt to the table and uh, and get things done.
I get it. And I agree
So
with
that
you.
would
I
be,
agree with you.
I would say that would be my biggest issue with my biggest struggle with Judaism. My biggest wonderfulness about Judaism is the singularity of it, is the oneness of it, is that if you understand a microcosm of what Judaism is, you can realize the perfection of what, everybody likes to say the world isn't perfect. I have to cook a potato, I have to do brit milah. There are all kinds of things in this world that show that this world, Hashem didn't create this world perfect. So everybody comes and says, no, these things were created because Hashem wants us to have our hand in the creation of the world. I don't believe that. I believe that there is perfection in the cooking of the potato. There is perfection in the potato itself, and there is perfection in the Brit Milah, and there is perfection and good. I believe that Hashem is kulo tov. Hashem is
Mhm.
all good. Not that
Right.
everything he does is for good. I hate that word for. I hate that
Hmm.
concept. Gamzu litova. This too is for good. I don't
Right.
believe in gam. I don't believe in for good. I believe in good. We don't understand why it's good. That's a question on ourselves. We don't have the brain capacity. We don't have the logic of what Hashem has,
No,
so
we
we
don't.
can't understand why things are good. So it's upon us to accept that things are good. But if you look at
Hmm.
the world and you accept it, you can accept, according to Judaism, according to all the bits and pieces that I've learned in my life, I can see a singularity, a uniqueness, a oneness of the entire world, of the entire of Judaism, of Hashem, of our relationship, of families. Each one of these are microcosms of perfection unto themselves, but we need to accept that because we're not always going to understand that.
Yeah.
And I am very appreciative. My goal every day is to be able to accept, not to understand,
Hmm.
not to know, none of those things, but to accept that this is good. Why it's good, that's not for me to know. How it's good, not for me to know. How this leads to something else that's good, not for me to know. How this affects everybody in the web and within the web, how it's good for each one of them, that's not for me to know. But I do know that it is fact.
It's
And with that
amazing.
fact,
It's amazing that you're saying this because, first of all, this is very revolutionary. Like, this is not what you hear in the Beit Midrash. This is not the type of thing that when you go to Judaism 101 class, this is what you hear. You don't hear this very often. You hear like these are the rules and this is the system and this is what you do. And what you're like on the 15th level of esotericism, which by the way is the only place I like to live in. That's it. I have had,
sure.
I had a near death experience 15 years ago, and I got to go all the way home. And everything that you are describing, I know to be true because I got to see it. I got to experience it. There is nothing besides Hashem, and the how, when we get back into the nitty gritty every single day and we want to leverage the law of attraction and we want to use our tefillah as literal tools for change and we want to do all these amazing incredible spiritual things, the how is the irrelevant part. It's not on us to know the how. It's none of our damn business. What's our business is, are you going to do it or not? And once you do it, you surrender and you go, okay, cool, I did what you wanted me to do. You do the rest and you have to surrender, and that level of surrender is terrifying. And so now I'm curious, are you saying that that part of it is the part that you love, or is that the part that you wrestle with, or both?
So that's what I was saying. In some ways, it's two sides of the same coin. That the do is what Judaism is about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Judaism is the world is 100%. It's perfect. So between the two, I would honestly say that the my crisis, my personal crisis with the do is my shortfall, and my personal understanding of of the singularity of the world and Hashem and Torah and Eretz Yisrael and Kibbut Avaim and Shluach HaKain and all of these different pieces. These are all parts of a singular perfection, and I think that's what keeps me going.
I adore that. I adore that. I have to thank you for saying that out loud. I know there's someone who's going to hear this and realize that you're talking to them. It's so important, I think, overall, especially with the climate of the way things are at the moment, that we get discouraged and we think like, oh, I'm not important. Oh, the world is going to go on without me. Oh, things are so terrible. And that's not at all true. And you're describing such an immense, important idea. First of all, you are fallible, just like any other human. We're all a little air quotes lazy. I don't like that word. I'm a big believer that it's probably, procrastination is a cover up for something else because I'm autistic. I have ADHD. I know that's a fact. But you're acknowledging all of this human fallibility in the scope of, and still Hashem is perfect. Like, and it's this lovely, lovely binary duality, bizarro, net weird world where you can be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. I adore that. So now comes the big question that is the theme of this podcast. Rabbi Akiva Fuld, I have to know specifically from you, in your own unique way, how do you Jew? What is it that you do in your unique flavor of Judaism that you bring it to the world different from everyone else?
Very big into minhag. My Rav taught me that minhag sometimes is more important, air quotes, than mitzvot,
Okay.
because it's hard for us to overthrow a mitzvah,
Right.
but it's easy for us to overthrow a minhag. And a minhag is a siyag laTorah. It is a fence around the Torah. We do minhagim as a further doing so that we don't get to the point of overthrowing a mitzvah. So there's a great importance to minhagim. Um, I agree with that, but I think it is a little too confining. Or
Offense confining, you don't say.
each one's minhag is confining.
Right.
So my belief system, and I think how I Jew, is that whatever works, as long as it's kosher,
Oof. Yes, please. More of
whatever
that.
whatever works to help you in your relationship with Hashem. And there was a period of time, I'm a Yek, so we're the total opposite end from Hasidisha.
Wait, you're a what?
So Yeki
A
from Germany.
yaki. Okay. I think I
Okay,
remember what this means, but explain it to me like I'm three.
okay. The Hasidim wear long coats,
Right.
and that was the dress in Poland and Russia and
Right.
in all of Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
The Yekis wore jackets,
Okay.
which in German is Yeki.
Oh, wait, is this the group where everyone makes fun of them for being super on time and super like
Yes,
strict about like
yes,
measuring things?
yep, yep.
Okay, cool. Okay.
That's us. It's
Okay,
very
good.
German.
Very
It's very,
German.
very German, and
Precision.
most of the Yankees in the world come from Germany and from Britain. Those
Precision
are
on
the
everything.
real, yes, and it's not just that. It's a very, very precise of everything. But like
Okay.
the old joke of there are a couple of good jokes about the Yankees. One is how many Yankees does it take to screw in a light bulb? 1.0. Or the rabbi, the three the chassid, the yekka, and the it's a long joke, but in the meantime, we're very, very careful and very, very. We see ourselves as the opposing end of the spectrum to Haredi or Hasidic Judaism.
Okay.
And you'll see if you go through the stories of it, Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, who was one of the main educators within the Yekish community. He was around the same time as the Baal Shem Tov, and each one of them had their very strong beliefs in terms of education
Hmm.
and how to get the next generation to come to do. Um, so I buy costumes for Shabbos, so to speak.
Okay.
I bought myself a long beged with tzitzis at the bottom, like a
Like a
like a dress.
caftan?
Yeah, all the way with tzitzis at the bottom that I
Love
wear
it.
on Shabbos.
Love
Some
it.
Shabbosim. Some Shabbosim I'll wear a bekasha, what the Hasidim wear. Even though
Okay.
it's not my minhag, but I believe that anything goes.
I
If it's
love it.
going to strengthen your doing and it's going to strengthen your relationship with Hashem, at, as long as it's kosher, meaning if somebody says eating pork is going to strengthen my relationship with Hashem, that's not
Yeah,
kosher.
probably
So,
not.
but I believe my doing, I believe is do what you want to do subjectively, that if it helps you relate to Hashem, as long as it's kosher. And don't subtract. Meaning you can't subtract. Meaning if you already are wearing a bekasha, you can't. What I do is not wearing a bekasha. Meaning my
Mm,
way of doing to get closer to Hashem is now I'm not going to. There is no lessening of what you do. There's only adding. If some adding something, adding any. I want to make sure that there are flowers on my table every single Shabbat. There's no halacha of that. There's no minhag of that.
right.
But that is something that brings me joy to my house, to my Shabbos table, and to my connection with Shabbos. And if that is so, then it is now your minhag to put flowers on the table every single Shabbos. Whatever it may be, if you're
Hmm.
adding something to your core um, belief system to get you to connect with Hashem greater, as long as it's kosher, go for it.
So, would you say that this is a practice where you take on minchagim, sort of non mitzvah additional practices that are already in practice that belong to a different type of group, or are you making your own minchagim too?
I don't know that I'm making my own minhagim. I think number A is right. I think B, it could be that I need to do my cheshbon and nefesh and look at myself one day and say, "Are you actually creating my own minhagim?" That's very, very possible. But that's not what I profess, and
Mm.
that's not what I try to do. I try to take. I know that it works by them. If it works by them, let me try it.
So you're a pragmatist.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. I'm a big fan of that. As a Baal Tshuva, I didn't grow up with any religion at all. My parents were very Zionist. My dad's a Holocaust survivor, and we had no religion, even though they're both from Romanian Russian stock. So I didn't have an Ashkenazi background or a Sephardi background or a Mizrahi background to pick from. So I've really been dabbling in many different kinds of minchagim from many different parts of planet Earth. And to me, it's just such a lovely buffet of reveling Hashem. Like, why would I stop? Like, it's so marvelous. It's like food. Like, if I'm gonna cook recipes from everywhere because they're all amazing and they make Shabbat so much better. But I've noticed, at least for me, like there are some times where I will create my own ritual. And I'll I mean, obviously, like some of it's rooted in things like heat bodedut and being in nature and going outside and whatever. But I'll go out there and I'll say special tefillah that maybe I've never seen in a siddur. Go do this outside and read this tefillah, but it feels right to me, and then I go say, so like I totally understand where you're coming from. Do you feel that your family and friends and folks who know you know that that's your flavor, that that's how you Jew?
my family, I believe, does. Uh, I like to have people for Shabbos. We have guests frequently, yeshiva guys and yeshiva girls who are spending their year in Israel. We like to have them for Shabbos, so it is something that I promote both in action and in discussion at my Shabbos table. Do they know that that is me? I think if I were to put a finger on it, I believe that. Well, again, it's sort of part of it because I believe that if I were to put a finger on what I'm recognized for, at least I recognize myself for, and I believe some people around me recognize also, is the do component of Judaism. And once you're talking about the do component of Judaism, then the do what makes you feel good component of Judaism goes along with it. So yes and no, like
That's
any
a
good Jewish question.
that's amazing. And it's such a Jewish answer. Yes and no. And here's all my 40 sources. So in terms of you and what you do and how you Jew it, I'm curious, what is one Jewish tradition or value or experience that holds deep meaning for you and why?
Give me a second with this
Oh no,
one.
he needs some time to think about this, folks.
Sorry.
No, please don't
One
apologize.
unique, well, as I said, I
Tradition
think
or
the unique,
value or experience.
I would say value. I would say again, the value again, but it's repetition. The value is do it, but that really is what is paramount. The value that is my doing it and my reasoning for doing it and the way I do it. And if you really look at everything about it, it is doing. But
Mm,
we'll go back to the other part, which was communication and education. I really do believe that that is what is going to make people recognize the wholeness of this world,
right.
and that is what's going to create achdut. And so that is, I think, communication equaling education, and that being paramount in the world today. And we see it more and more today than we've ever probably seen it before, because the more we're communicating on social media, and the more we think we're communicating, the less we're actually communicating.
Yeah, true story.
And so it's it's very necessary right now. It's probably more necessary than any other time in our history. Um, but I think if we're talking values of what pushes me as a Jew, again, I think it would be communication and education.
That's and I would say not that I'm trying to toot my own shofar here, but as Jews, we really do care so deeply about healthy education. It's literally like the entire book of Deuteronomy is
Right.
Moshe educating the children of the freed slaves on, by the way, this is who you are.
I'll tell you, even well, no, a funny story about that. I was going through a period of time in my life where I was trying to explain to myself, because that's really where I needed to explain first,
Of course.
how we have free will and free choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to the conclusion that it's very different than what people understand it to be. But
Okay.
we do and don't have free will or free choice. Hashem gives us the opportunity to do whatever we want, but we really only have two choices. And in Deuteronomy, we say very clearly, either do or don't do.
Yep.
Those are the two choices. There aren't 50 million choices, go right, go left, go to the fourth left. There is none of that. It really is in Judaism. If you look at it, it is all about do or don't do.
Yeah.
And so we have free will to choose do or don't do, and we have free choice, but in a way, like even free choice is a little bit difficult to explain. But even if you want to break free choice down to what it can be broken down to, we really only have two choices in this world. When it comes to any crossroad that you have. Oh, and who taught me this? That's what I was saying before.
Yes,
The person
please.
who taught me this was a Baptist pastor.
No way. Okay. Fabulous.
So I'm saying, so certain things, so be open to be educated by those you may think have nothing to teach you.
Well, the Talmud says
And
that. Who is wise? One who, well, no, it's Pirkei
learn
Avot.
from everybody.
Who is
Correct.
wise? One who learns from everyone.
Right.
Yeah, that's incredibly true. And there is really only action or inaction. I remember I was talking to God the other day and I got this really lovely visual because I was asking the free will question because it seems to be, the more enlightened people get, the more they struggle with this free will question. And I got this lovely visual of, yes, you have free will. And I put you on the river of life and I put you in a boat and you can go down the river. You can jump out of the boat. You can swim next to the boat. You can swim back up the river. You can canoe up the river. You can try to find another river, but you don't get to choose the river and you don't get to choose the boat. You get to choose what you do after. And sitting still and not doing anything is still a choice, it's still an action.
So the way I deal with free will, for instance, there was a movie years ago called I Heart Huckabees. I
Oh, I
haven't heard
remember that
anybody talk.
movie.
It was a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
one of the things that they explain about something else, but I've taken it as a clear discussion about will and about Hashem and Judaism and so on, is that Hashem, I believe, I know there are some people who very much don't believe in this, but I believe that Hashem exists outside of time. That Hashem is, we know that Hashem is not encumbered by time in any way, shape, or form, but I
Right.
believe that Hashem is current, he's past, he's present, he's future,
Hmm.
all at the same time. There is no
Right.
linear time for Hashem. So right
Correct.
now, while you and I are having this discussion, Moshe Rabbeinu is bringing down the Torah. Mashiach is here.
Yeah.
Adam
Time
is
is only linear to
completed.
us as humans with our human brains.
So it's not that Hashem doesn't give us free will. It's that Hashem, because He's outside of time, knows what we're going to do. So
Exactly.
I look at Him like our lives are a table, and He's a tablecloth. He goes the entire length and width and breadth, and he sees what is going to happen, which to us is going to happen, but to him it's happened or it's happening. So because he doesn't have that encumberment of time,
Yes.
I believe that's my understanding of where free will comes in. Free will comes in.
I think that's a really lovely example because if we had the capacity to supersede boundaries and physicality and gravity and north, south, east, west, up, down, left, right, we free will wouldn't be a thing because there is no first or second or third or last or first or anything. It's just everything all at once. It's like that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a whole nother mind trip. But I love that. And that's completely
100%.
true.
It was a very weird
It was
movie.
a very weird movie, like
Yeah.
super weird, like the hot dog fingers I still can't get over. But anyway,
I could not. That scene just like
that was too much. That
it
was,
felt very much like a Terry Gilliam.
yeah, it totally did. Yeah, I was waiting for the Monty Python guys to jump out of the corner.
Exactly.
So, in terms of the last question, I love this interview's gone so many directions. In terms of the last question, I'm just curious if you could share one piece of wisdom or insight with all the audience, all three of them, whether they're secular or from, or just remembering that they might be Jewish, on a Thursday. What is one piece of wisdom or insight that you would share?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
How very
And
Nike of
as
you.
related to your podcast, how do you do it? It's really about, even you said it. Just do it. Do it. Do. These are all. This is really one of the issues that I have with people who are, and don't take this personally,
No, not at
but
all.
one of the issues that I personally have with people who are striving for Mashiach, for instance, is that they're looking at Mashiach as being a goal, an end
Mm-hmm.
goal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I believe a lot of them, if you speak to a lot of semi-affiliated or non-affiliated Jews,
Mm-hmm.
they'll have heard from Chabad this concept of Mashiach, and we want Mashiach now, and giving money towards this. But they have this concept of Mashiach that's, I think, a bit misunderstood. And I personally feel that Mashiach is what Mashiach is a byproduct of doing mitzvot.
Mm.
By yearning for Mashiach, we're not doing a mitzvah, and by yearning for Mashiach, we're not bringing Mashiach. But by doing mitzvot and focusing our time on doing, we're going to end up doing mitzvot, and we are going to end up bringing Mashiach. So for me, again, everything you look at about Judaism, everything you look at about the singularity of it, everything that you look at about us as individuals, it's all about the do.
I adore that. And I don't take it personally. And you caught me. You caught me. I'm not gonna front. I I tell people what with me, what you see is what you get. And yet I don't disclose everything because I like to pretend that I'm sort of normal so that people will talk to me. I'm actually a total wackadoodle, hippy dippy, crystal wearing, tree hugging weirdo. And I agree with you completely. I think Mashiach is already here. I think that the only thing that's not happened, air quotes, is that the rest of us Jews haven't turned the dial in our brains to Mashiach consciousness so we can see that it's already happening and so that we can start taking the correct actions on the correct course so that it's present, like it's literally in our laps and we're not cognizant of it. And so when I say like I want Mashiach now, I'm like, I know Mashiach is here, but like, can you please listen too? So I love that. Thank you for calling me on that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. To me, that's a basic fundamental. The Rambam says we should believe that Mashiach is coming every day.
Yes.
He doesn't say that we have to think about Mashiach. He doesn't say we have to do Mashiach. There is no do to our belief in Mashiach coming. But we know that our mitzvah, there are two ways that Hashem is going to send Mashiach, either
Mm-hmm.
by all of us being zocha or all of us being needing. And if we are continuously doing mitzvot and keeping Shabbat and there's a list of 613 of them. But
Yes.
if we keep doing mitzvot, then I believe in if we all kept mitzvot, I believe in a short time we would see everybody's dial turned up to recognize Mashiach.
I agree with you. I do. And for those of you listening, that's not to say that like, you're lacking something. Like we're not saying chaser lechem. It's not that you are failing to achieve. It's just that even if it was just, I really do believe we're one mitzvah away. Like it's just one thing away. And so like,
Hmm.
even if it was you choosing to bite your tongue instead of saying that negative thing about that other person, that's still a mitzvah. Like that's still doing the thing. And it's not that like, hey, time's ticking. You got 612 left to go. Like that's not the goal at all. It's just a matter of recognizing like, we all have the capacity to just choose one mitzvah. It's a teeny tiny one, whatever it may be, and then we can see Mashiach here with us immediately.
Man.
um Please God, let it be tomorrow, let it be this afternoon, let it be tonight. I'm so grateful. This has been such a fun interview. Thank you so much for speaking to
Yeah, it has been. I've enjoyed this very much.
I love it. Again, folks, please don't forget to like and subscribe the podcast. And if you know anyone who would love to come on and be interviewed by me, who does their Judaism differently, whether through communication and writing Haggadahs, or as a rabbi, or as a life coach, or a musician, or an artist, or an actor, I don't care. I just want us to stop being judgy and start being lovey. And I want us to have Geula. So thank you so much, everyone.